Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devin Decker, and joining me, my host companion, it's Sejan Sarowick. How you doing, Sejan?
Oh, Devin, it truly was one crazy summer.
And that was what would be remembered as one crazy summer. All right, everybody. So we're talking about One Crazy Summer. It's in the title of this episode. We told you last week. This is what's happening. However, I did prepare a small statement because this is an excused absence episode. And as I had mentioned, I went to that wedding last week, and a lot of people asked me what the difference was between a time capsule and excused absence episode. So I'm like, I should prepare something. And if I can have a little bit of fun with it, I can have a little bit of fun with it. So without further ado, all right, so we're doing some excused absence episode. And if this is your first or 50th episode of the Say Report that you're listening to, you might be asking yourself, what the fuck does that mean? Now, we have a few episode types here at the show. Our most famous are the very special episodes, which is a show where literally every single topic is on the table. We decide on one very specific topic, usually a film that's celebrating a big round number anniversary, but we've looked at TV shows, franchises, books, video games, and music. And these episodes are released bi-monthly, using the every 2-month definition of that specifically. And those are for listeners amongst you that are subscribed to us on one of the numerous podcast platforms that not only exist, but have somehow agreed to host us. Thank you, Deezer. We also have Epic-sodes, where we take a look at multiple adaptive iterations in the entertainment world, and the source being adapted in an attempt to figure out why the art was adapted across mediums and the methodology behind it. Our oldest type of episodes are our time capsule episodes. Since Sejan and I wanted to make sure that we always had an episode ready to go on Mondays, we've always tried to have a banked episode that we could post if we were unavailable to record new content to release. The first time we utilized this banked episode system was in the Sound Report, our 8th episode ever released. However, these banked episodes were changed forever. When after we recorded a banked episode discussing the Zach Braff, Michael Imperioli sitcom about podcasting, Alex Inc., released as episode 70, Say Incorporated, the show was canceled by ABC immediately. We recorded it, and then ABC was like, we're canceling Alex Inc., which essentially rendered that episode immediately irrelevant. So from that time forward, we recategorized our bank episodes as time capsule episodes and made sure that we included the date we were recording the episode in the proceedings, so if the topic were to suddenly become irrelevant, there'd be some explanation as to where we were when we decided it was still worth discussing. We also tried to make it so the topics we decided to discuss in time capsule episodes were as evergreen as possible, to make sure we could avoid another case of sudden onset Alexander Incorporated irrelevancy syndrome, TM. Which brings us to the reason behind this prepared statement: excused absence episodes. Basically, these are time capsule episodes that are recorded specifically because we're already aware that we will not be available to record an episode during our regularly scheduled studio time, so we record much earlier. Like a time capsule, we date stamp them. This is being recorded on July 1st, 2026, just in case something happens between recording and release that we definitely would or should have mentioned, but obviously had no idea was going to transpire. The biggest difference between a time capsule and an excused absence is excused absence episodes are recorded with the intention of near immediate consumption by our audience. So we have no issue following up on threads we may have discussed in the previous episode or teasing what we'll have in store for the next. All of that is to say, and don't worry, Siege, I have no intention of rekindling my feud with John Oliver. The reason I've spent the last half hour writing this all out is because last Sunday, June 28th, 2026, John Oliver announced on Last Week Tonight that they would be off until July 29th. And this made me think how Sejan and I signed off on our episode recorded that same day by sharing that we would be using excused absence episodes for the next 2 weeks due to our schedules and holiday obligations, which I'm sure is partially why that show is on a 4-week hiatus. But unlike Mr. Days of Our General Hospital, we're still going to be delivering content those 2 weeks. Is it a perfect one-to-one comparison? Certainly not, since we are but 2 people, and his show probably employs 20 times that amount. However, it is still a pretty petty solid reason to take this moment to explore behind the curtain of our show. Without further ado, our excused absence episode celebrating the 40th anniversary of Savage Steve Holland's One Crazy Summer. Sejan?
Ah!
You see, you guys, there's this little fat kid, and everybody say he didn't look like his twin, and you know what happened to that little fat kid? I beat him up every day. I'd be like, why are you so fat? Why are you so fat? Hi, Siege. How you
movie,
doing,
man?
What?
This movie is just man, I have been looking forward to this for a long time, because the truth of the matter is that like this is a movie that it is deep within my soul. Like, we talk about formative films. This was a movie that I frequently, like, it hit all the right places. It was one that I rented a lot. It was on TV a lot. I had friends that also liked it, so it would be on TV. Like, when we were watching people would actually want to put it on. This movie was just everywhere for me. It was definitive for me. It was at a time when I was young and didn't really know much more. It was what defined like adult comedy for me for a while. Like, it was the most mature is not the right word at all for this movie, but to
9-year-old Sejan, I get it.
Yeah, right. But it was the most mature film I was allowed to watch, right? Like there was girls in bathing suits in this movie, and that was a big deal for me, you know.
There is that shot. There's this shot in the movie where Cookie and her crew approaches Hoops and the Stork Twins to have them move their boat into the water. Yeah, this sounds like work to me. And there is just a girl's crotch over John Cusack's shoulder that, like, I swear is what the cameraman has decided is the focal point of that shot.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. But here's the thing. John Cusack is in no way, like, it doesn't feel like he's part of it, right? It feels like it's happening behind him, and the cameraman is the one that is doing the, right? Because, I mean, the thing about John Cusack that I think I just kind of really nailed, like, I've just figured out what it is. He seems so unimpressed with fame. It's like he's like, yeah, I am the lead actor of this movie, I guess. It's like, okay, man.
I love
like, every movie he's in is just like this. I would rather be doing anything else.
I kind of get that, but I think in a lot of ways that's what makes him such an effective actor. Because I share, like, this episode, first of all, this was one of the episodes that got me through, like, COVID lockdown. If there was a day where I was, like, bummed that, like, I can't leave the house, like, or I shouldn't leave the house, right? I would throw on One Crazy Summer, and it would just make me feel better. Because this film, as weird as this is going to sound, I understand that I sound psychotic when I say it, does not feel like a movie. This feels like a real-life event that happened to some people that I know. This film is so eponymous in my mind that it is not sitting down to watch a movie that features John Cusack seeing himself as a rhinoceros, being just treated like shit by the cute fuzzy bunny gang. This is a story that somebody told me, and while I was hanging out with them around a fire one night. I love it. And you talk about, like, formulative. I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember the day that I watched this film. It was a Saturday, and it was on Channel 9 at my grandparents' house. The summer that we were living with my grandparents, Dale was just born. So she's she's probably like 8 months old, 8 months old. And they didn't have cable. My grandparents did not have cable. So everything was over the air. And my grandfather loved movies, right? Robert Miller absolutely loved movies. So this film comes on as the Saturday afternoon movie. And he's like, you're going to watch this. So there I am, little 9-year-old Devin, watching One Crazy Summer in my grandparents' living room, a living room that, like, I have not been in for, let's say, 25 years, that I remember every inch of. Sitting at their big wooden television that was in the corner, watching this film. And the thing that struck me, like the moment where I'm like, oh, this is a good movie, was when the crossing guard, who is just crushing beers. I get that it's the last day of school. That crossing guard is just crushing beers.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the humor of this movie in a moment, but I want to let you finish.
Says to the little girls that are making fun of Squid Calamari's dog that if you're slapped on the back while you're making a face like that, it will stick. And then that happens. Like, it is set up and it is delivered, and it is a thing where I'm just like, holy hell.
And then it becomes a running gag in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, there's no reason for those two little girls to be alone on the ferry to Nantucket. Right? They are at minimum 3 hours from home. I don't know where generic New York is located. But
the best way to like describe this film is like it's like a living cartoon, right? Like
yes.
if they can do the over the top cartoony bit, they're going to do it. Like one of my favorite examples is the biker dude with the spikes in his hair falls into the water, and of course when he comes out of the water, there's fish stuck to all of his spikes. Like that kind of humor is fucking hilarious to me.
I was playing the original arcade Double Dragons. And I think it's in Double Dragon 2. There's like an Abobo sort of like palette swap character who is that guy. Like 100% the leather jacket, the pink spiky hair. And I'm like, what fucking movie is that dude from? And then I load up One Crazy Summer and I'm like, it's from this. What? Talk about the Bader Meinhof, right? I also always think that's Donald Gibb. Rest in power, Donald Gibb. Cause like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, the other American in Bloodsport, aka Kumite the musical, and that guy's just so iconic. Right down to when he is defeated, him getting to like pop up like game over screen visual of him with fish in his hair. Yeah. The film is, I like. And then, right, just because we're talking beat 'em ups, I did not finish the movie that day. We watched till at least the basketball scene where Curtis Armstrong is used as a hoop. And I always thought that Jeremy Piven took off that like little light covering so they could use it as a basketball. But then they're clearly using a basketball. So I'm actually really not quite sure why that happened.
Oh, Jeremy Piven's not sure either. He was probably very high.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. John Cusack's best friend, Jeremy Piven, right? Like, just for the record, right. It happens. He shows up.
Yeah.
It's not the first time he's been in a movie. I know that some things about him aren't great. But again, he kind of just shows up in these John Cusack movies, is the most one-note characters. And if you close your eyes real hard, you can forget that he exists. But unfortunately, so I watched.
Yeah, I think his biggest sin is he's just a major asshole. Like, as far as I can tell, it hasn't gone much beyond just being just fucking rude to people, which is, not great. But in this day and age, it's a lot better than some.
Yes, that's very true. I don't know. I was a big fan of that, like, By the People show on CBS, where I've developed a way to like poll real people in real time to solve crime. And I'm like, this is a cool concept. And then Jeremy Piven did something, and that show was canceled immediately. I think possibly 2 episodes aired. But yeah, so like I saw till that basketball scene, and then they took me to the arcade. Remember Tilt in the Warwick Mall, where the toy vault is now?
Yeah, holy hell. Yeah.
So we went to the Tilt, and the game that I played that day was Captain Commando. The Capcom beat 'em up where they're like, we need ourselves a mascot character. Everybody's got a mascot character. So why not Captain Commando? You know, Capcom. And as far as I know, he's only ever been in his game and Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't even think he's in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. like I don't think he made the jump to the sequel. I think he just shows up in the first one. If I'm wrong, tell me that I'm wrong. But yeah, like it was the thing. And then we went to eat at a restaurant on Route 2 past Shartner's Farm. And every time we drive by it, I'm like, oh, I think it's just like the Tavern. I think it's just called the Tavern. Maybe the Stonehill Tavern. And like, that's the day that I was exposed to One Crazy Summer. And from that day, Siege, and I'm introducing something new to the Say Report here in this episode. And that is, I probably talked about it before, but I'd like to try, if possible, to cover the 9 movies that comprised my top 9 films at Blockbuster. Because at Blockbuster, we were asked to create a top 9, and they would go in the like employee selection section.
Okay.
And One Crazy Summer.
Now I understand why it would be 9, is because it would be 3x3, right?
Yeah, exactly. 3x3. And then I think the other thing of it was they would put up like a sign of a new release that was technically our 10th movie. So you have my current top 10 includes Geely.
Oh no.
That type of shit. Which
meant it for the kids.
Yeah. Gobble gobble. Woo! My penis sneezed. So One Crazy Summer was there. I'm gonna just brief run through the other 8 films, which included Better Off Dead, the other collab between Savage Steve Holland, John Cusack, and Curtis Armstrong. Let's not forget that Booga was there. I said it like Tank Girl. Fools Rush In, the Matthew Perry, Salma Hayek romantic comedy. 3 to Tango, which has aged horribly. But Matthew Perry, and that was like a movie I saw in theaters and nobody else knew about. Like I saw that.
I love 3 to Tango.
I love that movie. I absolutely love that film. Right? It was on my top 9. The Chase, starring Charlie Sheen.
Okay, and, man. Yeah.
I can't remember who the lady is in that one. It's not Christy Brinkley. It's
not the one. Oh, I was thinking of Crash, the where they crash cars into each other to fuck with James Spader there.
Yeah, that's another good pull. Who else was in the freaking Chase? Because I love that movie. That's like Christy Swanson. It's Charlie Sheen and Christy Swanson. He like hijacks her car because he's like gets caught up in a robbery. But only they think he's the one who's responsible because he just got out of prison. And then in their drive through like the 101 down to Mexico, Christy Swanson and Charlie Sheen fall in love. It's a great film. I bought a copy of it from the on-campus video store. That like
it's got a very Smokey and the Bandit feel to it. Yeah. You know, when like the ways that it's like that road trippy feel, and they're constantly in the car. It's a lot of just conversations between the two of them type stuff. It's good shit.
Yeah. And you got Flea and Anthony Kiedis are in it. Rocky Carroll, who would go on to be an NCIS.
As truckers, right?
They're driving a monster truck. And they're vigilantes. Yeah. Like they're like, we're gonna stop this. We're gonna end this chase. And then you have Henry Rollins with Zero Mostel's kid.
Yeah, but Rollins was up in all of that shit, though, man. Like, wasn't that around the time he was also in, like, Johnny Mnemonic, too?
Yes, exactly.
And I think he shows up in Tank Girl, doesn't he? And maybe I'm making that part.
I don't know if he shows up in Tank Girl, but he certainly shows up in Johnny Mnemonic. Yeah, and The Chase is 94. So, like, it totally tracks. And that, like, that was a movie that, like, from the Black Box days, living in Templeton, and my father loved it, which meant that anytime it was on, we all sat down and watched The Chase. Nice. Speaking of movies that my father introduced me to, Some Kind of Wonderful, Eric Stoltz and, Leah Thompson, not being mother and son. Like, everybody says that they replaced Eric Stoltz because he was terrible as Marty McFly. My guess is that the chemistry between Marty McFly and Lorraine Baines was just too palpable when it was Eric Stoltz playing against
Stoltz
her.
just kept going, but can they kiss, though?
Like,
but what if they kiss, though?
Like, what?
And Zemeckis was like, enough of this! Bring in somebody else.
But what would happen if I fucked my mom? Not if I got her pregnant, just like if I fucked my mom. What would happen? Eric, you need to stop asking that question. It's the question everybody's going to be asking, Spielberg. So instead, they replaced him with the most asexual popular actor of the time, Michael J. Fox. I'm sorry.
Sorry. What a rude thing to say about Michael J. Fox.
I think about, I've watched Family Ties very recently, start to finish, and, like, the 4th episode is all about him losing his virginity to a college student, and then you would think that, like, he did not know what sex was. Like, they backpedal from an episode where Alex loses his virginity and immediately falls in love so hard that I'm like, I don't know if Alex P. Keaton has ever kissed a girl, and I've watched him kiss women. Like that, like... Sorry. So then, Army of Darkness, because Army of Darkness was, like, my horror movie that I really enjoyed at the time, and I think about, like, how that introduced me to Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi in general. It was an important film to me. Splash, because let's face it, I'm a romantic at heart, right? And that's just a great movie. And then the final...
Hannah, right?
Daryl Hannah, Tom Hanks. My favorite part about Splash, right, is that Tom Hanks and John Candy are brothers, and, like, that makes no sense. Like, in terms of... No. In terms of, like, how Hollywood would cast people to be brothers. But my father and my uncle Tim, right? Dennis Decker and Tim Decker, totally Tom Hanks and John Candy. So, like, I watched that movie and I'm like, finally, representation for my father and his brother. But most other people are like,
finally, the white ancestors are honored in this film.
Right? Yeah, I know it ain't great, but it was one of those things where, like, that really connected me. Like, I didn't even fucking care about the mermaid storyline, or and like, ooh, Daryl Hannah's butt that Disney Plus had to, like, airbrush out from the version
they,
that's
like, extended her hair, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they did?
They extended the tail. Like, they brought the tail up. It's very weird. Like, they should have extended her hair. That would have made more sense. But instead, they're like, we'll digitally make the tail longer. And it's like, well, that doesn't make really any sense with what we see later in the movie. But who am I? I'm just a guy watching Splash too many times. And then the 9th spot, unsurprisingly, is A Few Good Men. So I would like to, those 8 films with One Crazy Summer, those 8 films are now in the mix to be used as time capsules, very special episodes, or excused absence episodes, or if we're just bored and want to talk about something instead of everything in an episode. That's what this is kicking off.
I mean, shit, if we just have to mention a movie just so that we could talk about it, Multiplicity.
Bro, I've been wanting to talk about, we're talking about Multiplicity. I love that movie. Do you know why we did Groundhog Day? So that we could do Multiplicity. I'm not kidding. That's the only reason. Because
Groundhog Day crawled so that Multiplicity could run.
God, I love Multiplicity. Yeah, right? It's part of the Andy McDowell, Rachel McAdams franchise of films, where Andy McDowell is the woman who's just normal in a film about time travel or cloning. It's great if you look at the trajectory of Rachel McAdams and Andy McDowell, just how similar they are.
Shit, man.
But yeah. But let's talk about One Crazy Summer, because that's why we're here. And it's just, and as CJ and I both said, we love this fucking living cartoon of a film that also within the first 5 minutes kills a kid. Like a teenager just dies.
So here's the thing. The comedy in this film, I always knew it was very over the top. Like don't like I was never shy about that. I mean, my favorite scene in this movie will forever be the Godzilla scene. And I know that that's a crazy ass silly scene. I knew it when I was a kid, right? But there's something about the way the humor really stuck out to me this time that I never really realized. Maybe this says more about me than anything. I never realized how weird this movie was until I watched it this time. I was like, because that moment, right? I don't know if I ever truly understood that kid dying because everybody throws their hats in the air and his just comes down like a razor blade. Like, Jesus.
And it goes deep into his back. Like whoever designed that, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it'd be like practical, right? But like also, practical costuming. Whoever designed it was like, we want there to be no fucking question in this moment that this kid is dead.
Yeah, that has destroyed him. I mean, but you're also like in the middle of this, like they've just introduced the name of the high school as Generic High.
Yeah, and then
he goes, "I really got to get out of Generic, man," and so that everything is named Generic.
Yeah, it's like that old scary story, the urban legend about Tuxedo, New York. Where the guy, I love that one. Everything just said Tuxedo. I'm freaking out. I wake up the next morning after finding a place to stay. Turns out I was in Tuxedo, New York. So, like, that's why it was the Tuxedo General Store and the Tuxedo Diner.
I was just drunk, officer.
Caboose! Like, that's the type of shit that happened to us driving to Alabama. Yeah, like, but that kid, like, dies, and you know what the really insane part about, like, them just murking an 18-year-old? Like, just flat, we just killed an 18-year-old. That just happened. Is that from that point forward, like, you don't believe anybody is safe.
It's definitely a very different experience with this movie. The horror film that this became.
Well, it's not that it's a horror film, but there are 2 scenes where George Calamari, portrayed by Joel Murray, like, almost dies. Like, and the reason that, like, he lives, but, like, by all accounts, he should be dead. I'm not sure why a guy eating chili on the beach sitting on top of you, like, in a chair, like, it's not like it's ass to head. It's just that the guy is in a chair above him and eats a big old can of chili with beans. So I'm guessing he passes gas and it makes Joel Murray pass out. George Calamari just pass out. And then, like, the EMTs show up and they're like, no, you're going to give him CPR. No, you're going to give him CPR. Meanwhile, dead on the beach. But luckily, here comes John Cusack to say, George was mostly alive, so, like, he pulled through, but, like, we all thought about it for a little bit. And then they do the same bit again.
Yeah, the way that this movie reuses bits. I mean, you know, you could call them callbacks, but this movie reuses bits.
Oh, yeah, that's 100% just reusing bits. I also think they kill a kid. I think it's, like, off-screen, but I'm fairly certain they kill a child.
I mean, there's all sorts of crazy shit that happens with the whole Boy Scout troop and everything in this. And the fact that there's just an open war field on the beach that they all go to.
Yeah, right? Yeah, Acky's out collecting shells. Oh, that sounds like an Acky activity. Cut to him on the beach of the Nantucket Air Force Base, trying to actively collect spent shells from, like, artillery practice, which I really...
While it's still going on.
big thank you to whoever wrote in the goofs section on IMDb that in order to collect shells, you'd need to be where they were fired from, not from where they land.
That's the kind of shallow pedantism I really love.
I'm like, I read that. I'm like, it's a fucking movie.
He also probably shouldn't have been out there doing anything. Doesn't matter if it was made up or not.
Yeah. First of all, probably shouldn't be doing it because you're putting your life in danger.
I made a very big mistake before watching this movie, Devin.
Oh, God,
I watched the preview for Robert Eggers' new one, Werewolf. I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw the photo of it, and I'm excited.
But let's just say that Eggers definitely utilizes this a lot. But this film also happened to use, let's say, non-traditional faces. A lot of non-traditional, like, bodies and faces. And like, watching the Egger one, where it's all played for, like, horror, right? Like, and all these, like, jump scares in a preview that they're trying to, like, get you interested in. And then go and watch this movie. There were a couple of moments where I literally jumped out of my chair.
Yeah, no, I get it. Completely understandable based on how this film is structured. I understand where you are coming from, CJ.
Also, this movie always makes me cry when he comes back and he's been hit. When
me too. Oh my God! Like when Clay Stork comes back from I can't remember the asshole kid's name. What the fuck?
Chad?
No, that was our asshole when we went to Nantucket. What the hell is his fucking name? Why is
his dad's screaming it all the time?
Ted. Ted is his name.
Because
I'm mad. Ted. Because if you remember a couple episodes back, I talked about the name I give the man in the yellow hat in the Curious George books when I was a boy. Turns out the man in the yellow hat has a canonical name. And it is Theodore Ted Shackelford. So every time I heard Ted in this movie, I like died a little bit inside. Because I was reminded that the man in the yellow hat, who I had referred to as Andrew most of my life, is actually, his government name is Theodore Alexander Shackelford. I'm sorry if I've just ruined your night.
Oh,
but yeah, but then Ted drops off his car, and he hits Clay, who, like, in a film, like, these guys are all relatively innocent, right? Any of them could have replaced Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly and given us the same result as hyper-asexual Michael J. Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you're sticking to that, huh?
I'm like, man, you gotta keep this bit going, you stupid bastard. There's that whole part of it, but Clay is the most innocent of them all. And for him to come back, and Ted, for just no reason, to hit him, and he's freaking bleeding out of his face, like, Ted deserved everything that was coming to him, and he's fucking lucky.
It is some of the best acting I have ever seen in my life. Is Goldthwait there when he like, the whole fucking reaction from his brother is just fucking Oscar worthy as far as I'm concerned.
It really is. I think you're being hyperbolic. 100% agree. Right? Like, that. This is why he got to make Shakes the Clown, was this scene in One Crazy Summer. Because it is, his reaction when he's like, did he hit you? There's so much care for his brother in that moment. And then how he slowly loses his mind, pulls out a chainsaw, and cuts off the engine of Ted's car so that the boat can have an engine. It's like
the reveal, man. The reveal at the end in the boat race that they've taken the car and put it into the boat. It's so good.
So good. It's just, oh my God. It's beautiful. Prepare to blow the hatch. Blowing the hatch.
But I mean, the car is like like, this is how well this movie, as much as this movie will kind of reuse things, it really, what it's doing is trying so hard to set shit up and then make it pay off. And the car is such a good payoff, because the very first moment you meet the asshole in this movie is when he hits him and he makes him kiss the car. Or, like, they get down real close to the car and they whisper.
Yeah. It's like, you touched my car. And I'm sitting there like, son, you almost hit him with your car. Like, he didn't touch your car. You almost hit Hoops McCann with your car. You're lucky.
And the car just comes up again and again and again, and then finally the payoff at the end of this movie is just the fact that they've mutilated the thing is just so good. Well, it's so good.
So you mentioned the Godzilla scene just being absurd. And it is absurd. But it is a masterclass in setting up a punchline.
Oh, so much.
It is so
much setup.
It's so much setup for it. Like the idea of like, we're going to be at the party so that you know if Ted is coming because you're going out on a date with his girlfriend. We have your back. Then there's the fact that Clay is supposed to be the one who does that, but then he has to go to the garage, so it falls on Egg Stork, played by Gothwaite. And then like there's also the like, don't play with anything in this prop truck. We're supposed to be security guarding.
yeah, right. The setup of this movie prop truck that's just there for him to just have a fucking blast in.
Yeah. And then he dresses up in a Godzilla costume that is the closest thing to Godzilla since Austin Powers Goldmember. Right? like it looks like Godzilla. Like it's got the tail length is right and all this other stuff. So he throws
but that's like one half of the story, right? Because the other side of this setup has been the Beckersteds, right? Like Ted and his dad, right? Like all the buildup of Beckerhead Estates, and the fact that we have seen this model that he's been slowly kind of building on his porch that is now center of this party, right? So, because there's also all of that build up too.
And then the like final bit of build up to not even that, because there's more build up. There's the fact that like in the crowd is Krong Freen, played by Donald Lee, the Asian manager of the bank. Who is arranging it so that if Cassandra is unable to pay the back mortgage on her dead grandfather's house, then they will get the land where they'll be able to build Beckerstead Estates. So, like, you have that guy, and that's the subtle bit. That's the bit that really works for me. Because then you have, finally, the grandfather of this whole group, who is the grandfather from Bill and Ted. Like, that's all I think of.
Christmas and Christmas Vacation, right?
Yeah, he's Christmas Vacation. He's one of the grandparents of Christmas Vacation.
He's the oldest one there. Yeah, he's great in that.
It's fantastic that he's there. He's smoking a cigar and he throws it into the bushes where Egg is hiding, and it lands in the mouth of the costume, which means that the costume is essentially on fire. So, Bobcat Goldthwait in a full Godzilla costume erupts from the bushes and does a full-on Godzilla through the, like, scale model of what Beckerstead Estates will be. Just, like, absolute madness destroying it. And they have Donald Lee there, and he does not react. He doesn't do anything. He just simply exists. Like it is such a beautiful moment, because they have been setting up this Godzilla scene. It is the centerpiece of this film. As much as the regatta is important, the centerpiece of this film does not involve John Cusack or Demi Moore, the two biggest names who are in this film.
No, this is the what do you call it? The climax of like Act 2, right? Because then after this is the basketball scene, and the basketball scene he loses, and you always have to end on a bummer on Act 2, right?
Yeah.
So like that's really the end of Act 2. But this is the big climactic moment. This is what everything in the movie so far has been building up to, is this moment.
Is that moment right there. And it's crazy. I mean, down to the fact that the basketball scene, which is sort of immediately after it, is just almost all of the main characters. Clay is not there, which is good storytelling. Like, he is still with the Stork's father at the garage, by all accounts. Yeah. So he does not show up. But George, Hoops, Acky, and Egg all wind up outside the Dewdrop Inn, and Egg is still dressed as Godzilla. And Acky, like, just got thrown out of his house. Like it's like, it really is like the break into 2 down ending part of the story. Right?
Yeah.
And then, like, to punctuate it, you have Cassandra, like, he's going to beat you in basketball for $100. Now, Cassandra cannot spare that $100. When we meet Cassandra Eldridge, played by Demi Moore, she's running from the biker gang that I think she earned that money. I don't want to know how she earned that money, Siege, and I'm not going to think about how she earned that money. And, like, how much would you say is there? Like, at a glance, my guess would be, like, $1,200. Like, it's not a crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that it involved playing at a club of some kind, perhaps even dancing at a club of some kind, but, like, it's not like she killed a dude for them.
Right, I'm just saying, I know that sex work is work, but I really want to hope that she didn't have to sell her body in order to pay for her grandfather's house. Because then that makes... I've already kind of turned this movie into like a really dark story with the nobody is safe, anyone could die. And they have access to heavy ordnance. Oh, that's it. Yeah, there's the kid who gets shot off screen. Joe Flaherty hands the kid a rifle, and he goes, "Go field dress this, son." And then you hear that rifle fall, and a shot go off, and the kid go, "Oh!" And Joe Flaherty looks to the camera and goes, "We're gonna need a tourniquet here."
Tourniquet. He turns to the other kids, so they go running off. Oh my god. It's just, that shit makes, I don't know why, but like this just absurd, wild humor. And then in the middle of all of this, you know, you've got these really down to earth things like Hoop's whole thing. John Cusack's character's whole bit is that his family has always been athletic, right? And that was kind of the hope, is that he would do something athletic to go to college, but it just never worked for him, specifically basketball, right? He's actually awful at it. But what he wants to be is an artist specifically at Rhode Island School of Design, I might add, which was nice.
Right. I mean, like, no wonder this film is like something that like became formulative for us, because like it's set in our backyard. Like John Cusack
we recognize these places. Yeah.
Like, I'd been to Nantucket, right? Like, it's that. So Hoops McCann is not named after the 1980 Steely Dan song Glamour Profession about Hoops McCann in universe. They have admitted that we named him that because of the Steely Dan song. It is one of my favorite parts to hear Savage Steve Holland like, yeah, we're like, we need a name for somebody who's like, the parents wanted him to be a basketball player. And we were listening to Steely Dan, and they're like, oh, Hoops McCann. Perfect. Like, that's a great story. But his name is Hoops because his father is a great basketball player and assumes his son will be that as well. It's like naming your kid Doctor, assuming he'll be a doctor someday. Not thinking of the fact that then he would literally be Doctor. And if I walked into a hospital and my doctor was Doctor, I could not contain myself, see, Jim. I would look him dead in the eyes and say, give me the news.
Because I got a bad case, Doc.
I got a bad case of loving you. I mean, like, hopefully you lean into it if your name is Doctor. But yeah, so that he wants to be an artist, and like, he's not accepted yet to the Rhode Island School of Design, which makes sense, but then it's also crazy that he's like, I have to do this for my scholarship application. And it's like, you should probably try to get into the school first before you're trying to get a scholarship to the school.
That college creep, kids have got to start getting ready earlier and earlier.
He has started on graduation day. What do you know? You're not a man, you're a cat. Go back to your feline world.
the little dead taxidermied animals around the cat's litter box got me. That one got me.
Yeah, God, it's just it's just so beautiful. I love the dog.
Just dumb jokes. Just so many. Oh my God. All of the bits with the dog are so good. The joke at the end where he comes back and he has puppies and some of the puppies have cones. Why would the puppies have cones?
I don't know, Sijin. Because it's hilarious. That's why. Because this film always goes for the joke. That is what this film does. And, like, it also establishes that John Cusack really has the hots for girls who have an older male figure in their life who, like, runs a home for the elderly. Because, like, that's Cassandra's whole story. Is that, like, I'm going to my grandfather's house. He runs a home where he takes care of some of his elderly friends.
Cusack it's really interesting seeing him in a movie like this because by the time we get to One Crazy Summer, he's had a fair amount of success in playing these kind of like teen romance roles, right? Like we talk about Say Anything, and like it's not a great watch nowadays to go back to as far as I'm concerned. I think Dev agrees with me that there's some issues with it. But like, that was a movie that was huge back then. And like he was what was the other one that he was in that,
The Sure Thing
with The Sure Thing.
That's a big one. I mean, cause like, One Crazy Summer is 3 years before Say Anything. So he does Sure Thing. He's got that small role in 16 Candles. Grandview USA, which is also kind of just about like being a kid in high school. He gets this really good string of just these like teen romance stories. And like what's wild about doing this is, I mean, even more to the point that it's one of the earlier ones he does, is like this one is just so weird, but that is, with the benefit of hindsight now with John Cusack's whole career, that is very John Cusack. If you look at some of the bigger projects that he has like thrown himself into, like Grosse Pointe Blank, or what was the spiritual successor one that he did there with Hilary Duff, War Inc. I think was the name of that one. Yes.
But like, I mean, being John Malkovich, right? Like he throws himself into weird projects. He is the kind of guy. Again, it's like he's kind of just not impressed. He's trying to see how weird he can get in order to like make it interesting.
Yeah, like he's totally doing his own thing, and because he's John Cusack, every director just kind of lets him do that.
But this movie like depends on the fact that like he just has to be cool and charming. He doesn't need to, we're not going to ask him to cry on camera or anything like that. We're not going to talk about like, dead parents or any shit. Like he just needs to be just a good kid. And that's what this movie really is like. Like we talk about safe movies, and I think that this movie really highlighted at least one element of safe movies. This being, I think, a very safe movie. I mean, I would watch this with with my kids, right? Like, there's nothing, But like one of the biggest things is that there's a happy ending. There's no there is a conflict, and then that conflict is very much overcome. All of the shit about basketball. You would think that the end of this film would be about him discovering something other than basketball that saves the day. But no, he actually just does one good basketball shot at the end of this movie, and it works.
Not only does he do a good basketball in, the climax of the third act of this film to save...
He also overcomes his fear of water, which is also, a backseated story for him. But sorry, you were going...
No, he does a basketball with a ball a quarter the size of a basketball, a hoop, the third of a size of a basketball hoop, that is also 25 feet in the air. So
the ball probably weighs about 5 pounds, 6 pounds. A lot more than a regular basketball.
And it's a metal ball. Yeah, it's a metal ball that he uses to throw it up. But
basketballs are probably more like 20 pounds, right?
A basketball? I don't think basketballs weigh 20 pounds. How much do basketballs weigh?
Maybe I'm overestimating that.
Weight. A standard basketball is 20 to 22 ounces.
Ounces. That's where that.
But that makes more sense. Yeah, a 20-pound basketball. We'd be losing basketball players all the time, CJ. One rogue.
Man, you remember when they tried to invent the the 3D printed those new basketballs that they introduced, and then they got rid of them real quick the second they put them in the actual hands of athletes, and they were like, yeah, they bounce nice, but they don't go anywhere. It's like throwing a wiffle ball. Like it doesn't go.
Yeah, because they were quieter. Like, the whole point was, like, we want quieter basketballs so that when we're watching on television, like, you can have other stuff going on. You can hear the announcers. There's no distraction from the court
But of all
sound.
the things to not measure in your inventing of this thing, they were so proud of, like, it gives you the right bounce. When you hold it, it almost feels like you're holding a solid thing, even though it's all this netting. It doesn't require any filling because there's no need for air to be in the structure. They were so proud of all that shit. And then they gave it to one guy that took over for a 3-pointer, and he couldn't get it past the fucking foul line.
Yeah, this is crazy. You want to have a good time, look into, like, the polycarbonate bats from, like, 2003 to 2009, and how, like, the way they were built is the more you hit with them, the more, like, condensed they would become. Like, essentially, the more they were used, the more corked they would become. So that, like, even with, like, a minimum amount of force, they'd be a home run. Like, it is like, it's one of the craziest things that I ever went down a rabbit hole on.
We gotta do an episode on sports cheating, because I've also got a whole rant about F1 too. So we should, but anyway.
Oh yeah, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it, because yeah, that'd be a good time. But yeah, so, like, he cannot get a 20 to 22 ounce basketball through a giant hoop that is 10 feet in the air. But, like, in this,
made of his friend who's trying to help him.
Yeah, who's trying to help him. But I'm also talking, like, regulation basketball. He's also no good at. Like, that's another thing that happens, is, like, he just can't do it. But when it is a do or die moment and he has to, like, double the height of a basketball hoop with a much heavier, smaller ball, he shoots it like a basketball, and it goes through, and it is like, you fucking cheer. You're so excited in that moment because good has triumphed over evil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is a jump out of your seat moment the first time you see it, right? It's like,
It's a jump out of my seat every time. And then they reuse the sail going up. Like, the exact shot of the sail rising.
Oh man, did we talk about the chainsaw not running in the chainsaw scene?
No,
just talking about weird. So yeah, if you can clearly see that he picks up that chainsaw and it starts making noise, but those teeth don't move.
No.
And he's swinging it around and it's not doing anything, and the smoke is coming from behind him somehow.
Sejan, let's be honest, right? You've never been in a room with Bobcat Goldthwait. I've never been in a room with Bobcat Goldthwait.
You think he runs on diesel?
No. Probably. But that's a story for another time. Would you trust Bobcat Goldthwait with an active chainsaw? That is the question I have to ask you.
Just occurred to me, is this the movie where he really kind of starts working with Joel Murray? Because Murray comes back eventually to do God Bless America, right? That's the...
Yeah.
Isn't that the one about the guy that goes on? I mean, Bobcat Goldthwait does some very dark shit. I think we've talked about this when we did Shakes the Clown. Go dig up that show. There's a dark streak to his movies, and so, like, yeah, there's an entire movie about a guy that just, like, has had enough with society and just buys a gun and goes on a killing spree, and it's a comedy. And I'm pretty sure it's Joel Murray that plays him, isn't it?
I'm trying to find it in this, because it is. It's like in the 90s. I know the exact movie you're talking about. They are both in it, and yeah. Oh,
I think it's mid-2000s, actually, though.
Okay, I went too early. See, Anthony, run. I'm not seeing it. I'm going to go via Bobcat. It might not be Joel Murray.
Thought that's what you were doing.
No,
yeah,
I'm on Joel Murray's. I decided that, like, let's go off Joel Murray. This is Joel Murray's first film, by the way, just for the fact.
That's awesome.
He does show up in Shakes the Clown as the milkman. God, go listen to our Shakes the Clown episode. It's part of our Adam Sandler cinematic universe. God, I loved that movie. I cannot get over how good that film was. It really just worked for me.
Yeah, man.
What American movie? Talk a little bit while I'm looking for this.
Oh, We haven't talked about Mark Metcalf being in this one.
No, we have not.
Another Neidermeyer showing up or whatever. It's another one of the trilogy. We found it. We've completed it, Devin.
It's wonderful.
The dude, I swear to God, in this movie, he looks so gross. Like, they go out of their way to just make him look. They give him like a John Waters mustache, but like 10 times worse. They grease up his hair, and then the way that he like walks around like hunched over, like he's just a goblin in this.
He looks like a monster.
So good.
He looks.
You know the
like
best part?
Monster.
I spent the entire time. This is the first time I ever had the opportunity to think this watching this movie. He looks like the ex of a friend of mine, an ex-husband of the friend of mine. I texted her a picture. I was like, "Holy shit, this looks like your guy." And she's just like, "Oh God, turn it off. What is happening?"
That's just mean. I cannot find that movie. I know the movie. Oh, God Bless America. There it is. And it is Joel Murray. Why was that so difficult for me to find? He wrote and directed it. I went through his full director thing and did not find it. But yeah, Joel Murray does play the lead in that one. 2011's God Bless America. Maybe because 2011 is just a blank spot. No, 2011 is good. 2012 is the blank spot for movies for me. I missed a lot of 2012 movies.
You were on a boat.
Well, no, I was on a boat 2 years earlier, and then I saw too many in 2011, and I'm like, I need to take a break. So I saw American Reunion and Cabin in the Woods. And Avengers.
All right.
Like, I saw Avengers. It was a weird thing. It was one crazy summer. But yeah, like this, I really do. I love just the world. And like the reason we're doing this, outside of the fact that this is a film that is clearly near and dear to both of our hearts, right? Independently, too. Like, I don't think we've ever watched this film together, despite it being a film that the two of us love.
I'd be surprised if it didn't eventually end up on somewhere along the line. You know, probably not as like a, hey, let's sit down and watch this movie, but just like,
as
oh, this is on. Well, let's leave that on while we play video games or something, you know?
Yeah, well, we decide what we're doing tonight. That's perfect for background noise. And then suddenly that's what we're doing tonight is watching One Crazy Summer. But like, the other thing is that a year ago, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And a plot thread in this, the reason why there is a movie-level prop truck on Nantucket is because in universe, they are shooting the sequel to Foam, titled Foam 2, about a giant dolphin with rabies that is terrorizing a small New England town.
Oh my God.
And there is a scene where we see them shooting it. They're like out in the water, they're shooting this film. And it is such a beautiful recreation of the orca, of Brody, Quint, and Hooper's costumes. And it's like in the background. They put so much attention to detail to be like, do you get that we're making fun of Jaws with this?
Dude, I mean, here's the thing. The recreation, when they first introduced the whole concept of Foam 2, it is by showing the dolphin animatronic, for I guess is what you would call it, right? Up on its, like, its truck, like, in the background. That is like looking at behind the scenes, like, images from Jaws, like the exact same truck, the exact same like styling of like how it's positioned on there with its mouth open, and like all of the shit with like the signs and stuff around it. It was like they were just like so hell-bent on recreating Jaws for this bit that is only ever really in the background. It's one of those ones that doesn't ever really make it to the front of this film at all.
I mean, it is how Mark Metcalf fails.
That is true. That is true. It does at the end. Yeah, it does pay off.
There is payoff. There's payoff. That being said, you're also not wrong. Because it's not like huge payoff. It is a great sequence. I absolutely love it. It is a wonderful sequence. Squid has taken over. So I love the name too. George Calamari, and then his younger sister is just Squid Calamari. Like, yeah, her name's just Squid. And it's probably a nickname, but they never give her any other name, and she's credited as Squid. And she owns the dog Bosco that we've already alluded to earlier, and she's very defensive of her dog. If you make fun of her dog, who's got like some bandages on it, patchy fur, and is wearing
a cone.
Was that?
No, go ahead.
And the cone, and is wearing one of the like medical cones, so that like a dog doesn't like nip at or lick stitches or things like that, because that can get them infected. And like people mock that dog all the time. There's a moment where they go to a gas station. She's with her grandmother when they go to the gas station. And
and it's what's his nuts? What's his name?
Oh, I wish I knew. I see him in my head. I will get his name while we're doing this. I hope he's credited. It'd be crazy if he wasn't credited, but it doesn't look like he is. Oh, Taylor Negron as Taylor. He just plays a character named Taylor. Yeah, Taylor Negron. From The Last Boy Scout, Nothing But Trouble, Angels in the Outfield.
Nice.
Just some great stuff that he does. Like, they mock the dog by saying stuff like, you should just kill that fucking dog. They don't say the F word, but, like, the tone says the F word.
Well, it builds to that, right? Like, they start making fun of it, and they see that, like, it's getting to her, so they just keep getting worse and worse. And so, like, they get comeuppance, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, they get comeuppance, because she rolls up. First of all, like, I'm almost sad that their gas station doesn't blow up, because, A, that'd be good for the Stork Twins and their gas station. And I'm rooting for them. I'm going to be honest, I'm rooting for them. But their ties are rolled up into the window as Grandma drives off, and they are dragged along with the car. Possibly to their death. We'll never know.
I mean, right? They get keelhauled, man.
Yeah. And by the tie, too. That's got to be fucking painful.
Jeez.
But it's good. Like, so she's, like, fiercely defensive of it. And Mark Metcalf as Aguia Beckerstead. His name's Aguia. That's just chef's kiss titling for that character. He straight up kicks Bosco. Like, he's like, get this mangy mutt out of here. And then he runs back like he's Charlie Brown, only there's no Lucy to move Bosco. So he straight kicks the dog.
I mean, to the point where the dog has to go to the hospital. Like, this is like... This movie goes places.
Right. And again, as I've established, nobody is safe. Anybody could die at any moment in this film.
And so they cut to the animal hospital, and the very first shot when they fade in is a dog pushing another dog around in a wheelchair, dressed up like a nurse.
Like it's a for real animal hospital. It's not a hospital for animals. It's a hospital run by animals. Like, it's such a on-the-nose visual joke, but it's also perfect. Like, I'm not going to complain about it because it's perfect. But, so when Squid has the opportunity to drive the foam to Dolphin, it never gets a name, into him and essentially...
We'll call it Frank.
Yeah, Frank. She gets the foam Frank gets to eat frickin' Aguia Beckerstead. and it's just his legs hanging out of the back. Like, and it's clearly fake legs, but it's so beautiful. And he does live. It doesn't kill him. There's no blood on the hands of our sweet Squid Calamari.
At least not there.
But I gotta tell you, she's definitely. I believe she's killed and she'll kill again, Sage. Like, think about how fucked up your life would be if you were stuck with those faces from like age 8.
I know.
And I'm talking about like it's like that thing in the Life, the Universe, and Everything with the immortal who goes through the universe insulting everybody alphabetically because he just has nothing better to do. And they specifically talk about how one of the reasons he had to find something to do with his immortality was that he was not born with it. He ended up with it through a strange, inexplicable, unrecreatable accident. So, like, he was not equipped mentally to deal with the fact that he will never die. Like, it's one thing to be born ugly, right? It's another thing to live 7 to 8 years of your life and then be making faces at a dog in a code, get smacked on the back, and, like, their faces look like they're dead. They look like
they look like they came out of a
Dead.
Tim Burton. Yeah, they look like they belong in, like, the Beetlejuice waiting room. Like, it's yeah.
Like, those masks are unsettling. They've always unsettled me from that first time I viewed it.
You know what it reminded me of? Remember that episode of Twilight Zone, all about, like, the woman with the face bandages on, and then at the end it's revealed that she's actually beautiful and everybody else is ugly. It reminded me of the masks and that.
Yeah, because it's that same sort of thing. Because, like, the mouth isn't covered. It ends at, like, the top of the cheekbones. So, like, that's what is so unsettling to me, is that I can see the clear seam where the mask ends. and I don't like that. I do not enjoy that. Please, can we move past it? One Crazy Summer.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a bunch of cartooning in this movie.
There is animation.
Again, like, this is also, like, if anybody's hearing all of this and thinking, this sounds kind of familiar, Better Off Dead also uses a lot of this kind of absurd humor as well. It's one of the reasons that these are often considered sister films, and are often paired together. I know for one of the first times I ever owned One Crazy Summer on DVD, it was on a dual disc, two-sided, with Better Off Dead from Walmart.
One of the reasons I watched Better Off Dead was finding out that it was the same director as One Crazy Summer. And then also the plot line of it, a man being in love with a high school girl named Beth, and, like, to the point that he just wants to kill himself if he can't be with her. It wasn't to that level. But, like, treating that way of treating your high school unrequited love like it is a life or death situation, like, it really helped me realize just, like, how nonsensical it was. Like, it really, really did. Plus, like, I mean, but that's what Better Off Dead is legitimately about. John Cusack plays a kid who is heartbroken in high school, so he wants to commit suicide, and he just can't fucking do it.
Yeah, it's about a kid with depression and how he's unmedicated and undiagnosed and has to make it through the world. And it's a comedy.
That it has one of my favorite jokes in it. I mean, like, it's adjacent to this. Like, I think of Savage Steve Holland, I think of animation, and it's not just the cute fuzzy bunnies. Like, I have to do an animated love story for my scholarship application to the Rhode Island School of Design, right? Which, can we just talk about how fucking crazy that is as a scholarship requirement in 1986? Like, everybody always talked about how difficult it is to get into RISD. I think that they're just thinking of this movie. Because, like, that's a lot. Like, you need to
produce an entire cartoon before you come to school to learn anything about that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we kind of want people who already know what they're doing so that we have high success rates for our graduates. Thanks.
Sounds kind of Rhode Island, actually.
Yeah, actually, that does sound very Rhode Island now that I've put words to it. But, like, and in Better Off Dead, he gets a job at a burger place, and the burger turns into claymation, right? And sings a Van Halen song. It's incredible. It's an incredible thing. But then, like, the joke that I really like is Better Off Dead also involves a skiing plot line where, like, he challenges, like, the guy who he's challenging for the affection of Beth is, like, the best skier in school. So
it's everything short of, like, we've got to save the lodge, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's this whole, like, build up to this ski competition that they're going to have.
Yeah. You think about 80s films and just, like, contrivances, Better Off Dead is one that is poured into that blender a lot when you're doing
but that's the same with One Crazy Summer, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the regatta at the end of this thing. You're hearing about the regatta the whole time, and it finally builds up to it. And, like, that's the big denouement, right?
But he's friends with Curtis Armstrong in that, and Curtis Armstrong straight up looks like a hobo in the film. And I don't mean anything negative by that. Like, I'm fairly sure the costumer's like, we're going to dress you like you're a hobo. He's got, like, patchwork clothes. He has on a big top hat that's got a big hole in it. And he climbs to the top of the mountain with John Cusack's character. And he's like, oh my God, look at all this snow. And he drops to his knees and he does a line of snow as if it's cocaine. And he's like, oh my God, and it's so pure. But it's snow. It's not a mountain of cocaine. But Curtis Armstrong fucking sells it. Like, God, I'm excited to talk about Better Off Dead someday. Let's go back to One Crazy Summer. And you know who we really haven't talked a lot about? Is Curtis Armstrong's Ack Ack. Right? Acky?
Yeah. Well, so is I thought that he was Ack Ack because he was named like AK. You know, like, oh, okay, he's named after a gun. But no, he's actually just named Ack Ack. What am I missing?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know why his name is Ack Ack. Like,
it feels like a joke that I just haven't gotten yet in 20 years of watching this movie.
I mean, I like the name Acky. I like their affectionate nickname for him, Acky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like, I mean, he's like, you know, Kathy and the Ack, like her famous Ack. Like, it almost feels like it's sort of a thing on that. Like, he's just like, he's not afraid of the world, but he's got like a noble soul. It's one of my favorite Curtis Armstrong roles because pretty much since he played Booger in Revenge of the Nerds, he's been playing Booger. Down to the
it's
fact
been
that,
like, oh, he's got the gross nerd factor down, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
typecast a bit.
I mean, he still plays a character named Snot in American Dad, like, and the whole joke is that he's basically Booger from Revenge of the Nerds, but part of Steve's group of friends. like that's it, and that's why Curtis Armstrong is the voice. But like, I think of his role in Risky Business because he's the one who like introduces Joel to the whole sometimes you just gotta say what the fuck, and like he's so good as like the high school student who has it all figured out because he's just like smarter than everybody in that. Or then I think about his role in like Better Off Dead, but then in this film, like the whole dynamic of Ack Ack is that his father, played by Joe Flaherty, jackass.
I was thinking of the vampire bit from, was that SLC TV that he used to do that?
Yeah.
On? Yeah.
I think of him from Freaks and Geeks, being the father of the Weir family, right?
Nice.
So like, but of course I'm like, all I'm thinking about are like the Adam Sandler connections as we're watching Crazy Summer. Excuse me. So his father wants him to join the Marines. And when we first meet him, he's collecting shells on the beach. They're spent artillery shells. My dad gets $12 a pop and he sells them as paperweights. It's a good sequence. And as they survive this Air Force base, which like, I never finished that thought process, is like, first of all, you shouldn't be there while live ordnance is being shot because that's dangerous. But also, as somebody who has been caught trespassing on a military base, it was an accident. I took the wrong turn while I was driving in a state I was unfamiliar with.
Man, you gotta be careful with those Apple Maps.
Yeah,
it'll put you in weird places.
You like, if they were on that base, they would be arrested. Like, it's not like they're in some far corner of the base. They're at a thing that is actively being shelled. So that means there are people at the guns, at the artillery, who are aiming for them. So they would see human bodies on that beach. I'm not saying they'd stop firing, but I'm fairly certain some MPs would be dispatched. Because I drove less than 1/10 of a mile down a private road on a military base and was somehow surrounded by military police.
I for one, on July 1st, 2026, am not going to assume anything about our military's comprehension right now.
That's a good point that you make there. So we see him doing that, and the reason he's doing it, because like, I wrote in my notes, why isn't he waiting for them to no longer be actively shooting? And the film, like, I was so proud of One Crazy Summer because George looks at him and goes, why aren't you waiting for them to be done before doing this? And I'm like, good. I'm glad that someone in the room was like, this is too absurd for this film. We need to have them acknowledge the fact that he's in an active, like, shooting range.
Mm-hmm.
So they do address it, and his response is, when the general says go, I go. Right? So he's, like, trying to win his father's affection, which is the reason why he's ready, willing, and able to join the Marines, even though he kind of lacks that killer instinct to like, be a Marine. And then...
Kinda, yeah.
The way that is demonstrated to us is in the seaweed that is washed up on the beach, he finds a discarded doll. It's missing its head, it's missing one of its arms, it's missing one of his legs. And another Oscar-worthy performance. Curtis Armstrong looks at the screen as if he's delivering a PSA. And he's like, do you know that for every lost doll, there's a little girl out there with a broken heart? And it's just like, oh, this guy's sensitive. The joke is that he's sensitive. But his sensitivity pretty much extends exclusively to toys. Which I get that. I feel that. I see that. I feel seen by that. But it is, like, just really interesting sort of thing to see him, like, have this, like, Shakespearean monologue about this lost doll. And then eventually, like, because of the strength that is given to him by his friends, so, like, him and the Stork Twins, they're all locals. They all live on Nantucket. George is their friend who visits every summer while he's at his grandmother's house, and Hoops is brand new. Hoops is the audience XP in this particular story, which does lead me to the question, do they know Cassandra already? Because they're familiar with her, but she also seems like she's new to the group. So
it feels a little bit like she probably was. If she was probably not around a lot. If she was around, she was probably helping her dad out with the facility and all that, right? Like, it seems like she's the kind of thing where, like, they know the face. I mean, she also, by all accounts, wonderful voice and great at guitar. So, like, probably also has played a couple of shows that they've maybe seen. But then, you know, one day you actually get to, like, hang out with that person. That's a whole different experience. So because of, like, Hoops is very understanding of Ack Ack, and they have kind of an instant connection that I think is really awesome in the film. And through that instant connection, he tells his dad that he doesn't want to join the Marines, and his father kicks him out. He calls him a coward for not having the, like, strength to want to serve in the armed forces. That's actually a little powerful scene too. Like, the seeing just, like, how dedicated his father is to the idea. Like, this film is really, like, even through Ted and his father, it is the expectations that our parents have for us and how that can fuck us up. I mean, Ted has that whole moment at the end where he, like, freaks out on his dad because he doesn't want him to cheat. Like, he's pissed that he's even there on the boat, right? And then all that. So, like, you know, it's not like a full redeeming thing for him. He is an asshole, and you know, we talked about earlier, like, resorting to physical violence on people and things like that. Like, fuck him. But, like, we're given that moment where even he draws a line that his father just does not give a shit about.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, like, we'll talk about that. I do like when his father shows up with Chekhov's crossbow and uses the crossbow to cut their sail line. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's been a long time since I've sailed, but yeah, like, yeah, it is. It's really like this whole thing. And then the whole point of the regatta, why the regatta is significant, is that if the Beckersteads do not win the regatta.
Don't worry, the movie's not afraid to make that joke.
That joke
like
is made.
2 seconds of introducing them, Demi Moore spits it out.
She's like, yeah, old man Peckerhead's trying to get a hold of my grandfather's land. I'm sorry, what was that? Sorry, Old Man Beckerstead. Like, it's so good. Excuse me. If they don't win the regatta, then they will be cut out of the will. Like, that's the whole storyline behind why the regatta is significant. And then, like, they do this incredible media blitz for Cassandra. Like, she's going to be playing at the Dewdrop Inn. They go viral marketing in just, like, some of the most insane ways possible. They bring their own projector to the drive-in, which seems to be literally the only thing on the island for people under the age of 21 to do at any given time. There are
Sounds
no
like
other...
Nantucket.
Was that?
Sounds like Nantucket.
Yeah. He's not wrong. There's a reason why I didn't work on Nantucket that summer. I had the opportunity to. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. Oh, I'd want to be sedated. No, wait, that's next week. Like, they bring their own projector and they play a short film talking about Cassandra playing at the Dewdrop Inn, which, like, also that proves to us that Hoops is capable of creating a full-on animated, like, short feature. Mm-hmm. Like, just send that to fucking RISD. It's a love story. You're trying to get people to fall in love with Cassandra at the Dewdrop Inn. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Just submit that, Hoops. So through that marketing blitz, they sell out the Dewdrop Inn, which, like, not only that, her band has grown from the first performance we see where there's, like, 4 people there because Hoops instead goes out on a date with Ted's girlfriend, Cookie, for, like, narrative reasons. Like, there's no reason for him to do it, but he's an exotic off-islander. So, like, she wants to be the first to mess him up.
He's also cute. I mean, the thing is that, like,
cute,
we are led to believe that, like, he's an attractive, like, in universe, as well as the fact that it's John Cusack. We are led to believe that he's a guy that can get it. Like that's not his flaw in this film, and it's not where his conflict comes from. You know,
his conflict comes from the fact that he just has no confidence in himself because his parents have broken him down. Like,
well, because he has no sense of direction because his parents told him there was only one direction and he couldn't go that way. Like, broke him down. It's like,
well, I was going to talk about, like, there's that great moment at graduation where they're walking through the parking lot and everybody has gotten, like, a brand new car. Like, their graduation wheels, that's what they're referred to. Generic New York is probably upper class. Right, like, we're just gonna have to admit that before we go any further. But, like, they're walking through the parking lot and everybody has their graduation
wheels. The kids
wheel.
Summer on Nantucket. Yeah, they're pretty upper class.
they summer at their grandmother's house on Nantucket.
Hey, well, so that makes them lower upper class. Like, that doesn't. But it's like, so there's definitely something to be said about, you know, classes within the classes and all that shit.
I mean, they're friends with the menial laborers who live on Nantucket. They're friends with the mole people. They're not friends with any of the rich people on Nantucket, Sage.
Yes, but to your point, they are definitely upper class in generic New York.
Yes. So all these kids get their wheels, and Joel Murray has this great thing where he's like, what, just because you didn't get a basketball scholarship, you're going to wind up a street sweeper? And then we see Hoops graduation wheels, and his parents have bought him a street sweeper, which, like, that's got to be more expensive than a car in 1986, right? Like, that's a piece of...
Yeah, but they were that spiteful.
Yeah. Like, it is such a striking visual gag because, like, the whole time they're walking, George is trying to convince him to come to Nantucket. Like, you'll get away from here for the summer. You'll be able to get out of your head, get out of your way. Then you'll be able to, like, nail this scholarship thing. And he's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, wait till you see your graduation wheels. Maybe that'll change it. But if not, Nantucket is right there. They come up on the street sweeper, and John Cusack does that John Cusack thing where he's like, when do we leave?
All right, when do we go?
Yep. And yeah, it's just the delivery, the timing in this. But Cassandra, she's able to raise the $3,000 back mortgage, which, like, how many months back was the mortgage, Sejan, that it was only $3,000 that she had to get? Like, somebody who wrote that script either thought that $3,000 was a lot of money or not a lot of money for that moment. And I could not tell you which it is. Like,
I mean, I don't know. What are we talking? Early 1980s?
It's 86, yeah. And the house
86,
is...
mid late 80s, okay.
Yeah, so... I don't know. It's just like one of those things where, like, it's an attainable number, which I like, but then everybody in the movie's like, $3,000!
Well, she even outright says, it might as well be a million.
Yeah. Well, that's because she's a hippie chick, man. She's got those corn husk braids. That is a joke that is so good in this movie.
Oh, man.
So she gets the money, but then she goes to the bank to pay it off. She had until August 2nd to pay it off, which also means that they go to First of all, it means they graduated from high school in, like, July. Because they're not in Nantucket that long, CJ. They're there. She's like, I have to pay the back mortgage in a week. And they just met each other, like, at the beginning of that week. So, like, the timeline... It's not one crazy summer so much as it's one crazy week in the summer. Sorry. Yeah, so she gets the money, she goes to pay it, and it's like, oh, it's too late. Your mortgage was bought yesterday by the Beckersteads. And it's like, well, why didn't he just do that from the fucking beginning? If that was an option, why didn't he just buy out the mortgage earlier?
Well, because he's not really liquid cash, Dev. I think that's the whole thing, right? Yeah. I mean, to get deep in the weeds about, like, the finances of this bullshit, but I think it's actually kind of interesting, is, like, the implication is that he's just been borrowing against his inheritance his whole life. So if he doesn't get his inheritance, he loses everything. Right. It is, like, the most, like, cutthroat, like, if he doesn't win the regatta, he literally loses everything.
Yes. And they make him so despicable that that's what you're rooting for. You're rooting for a man to lose everything.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So the reason I think that he doesn't do that to begin with is because that's probably a very expensive thing to do, right? Yeah. And so it's a last resort for him.
Yeah, once he sees that she's probably going to be able to pay off the back mortgage, which defeats it. Because that's the other thing is he wants to buy that land so that he can get out from under the thumb of his controlling father. Because if he can set up the Lobster Log restaurant, apparently he'll be on Easy Street for the rest of his life. Because that's what Nantucket needs, is another restaurant.
Well, and specifically, like, he wants to buy up, like, all of the town, too, like, around it so that he can, like, build, like, the estates and all of that, right? And, like, it's just, like, it's capitalist enterprise coming in and taking over summer homes. Like, this was foreshadowing the current housing
world,
crisis.
Yeah. Some people watched this movie and were like, man, I hope I have friends like that someday to do a podcast with, and we can get into all sorts of crazy, wacky adventures. And that happened, right? Like, I have Sejan. We get into crazy, wacky adventures. Like,
I thought you were going to point out that somebody probably watched that and thought, man, Peckerhead's right.
Yeah, no. And that's like, so while we're a subsection of the people who watch this film and lived and based our lives on it, successfully too. Like, we did it, right? Like, we live on other sides of the country. One of the reasons was if we just lived near each other all the time, we'd probably be dead. There's a scene in this movie where they're, like, running late for a ferry, so they jump the car onto the ferry, and and if this were not the, like, magical realism world that is One Crazy Summer, there's absolutely no way in hell they would have made that jump. The boat is significantly out to sea at the time that they go off that ramp. But they make it, and then a motorcycle, which it's more of a dirt bike. It's not like a Harley. Like, it's more built for speed. Barely, like, clears the ramp.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really. The other thing is he doesn't aim for the boat. If you watch,
yeah.
Like, why doesn't he aim for the boat? He clearly just aimed straight off into the water. And it's like, I actually think you might have made it, dude, if you just, veered to the left a bit.
I mean, that car made it, and you're a smaller, faster vessel. You did this. Oh, man.
Plus, your spikes are very aerodynamic.
Yeah, right. Sonic the Hedgehog would have made it if he were on the motorbike. Not even to talk about the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog, he could just do it, right? Because he's Sonic the Hedgehog. He's very fast, and he has to go fast. That's kind of his thing. Sorry. But, like, there are some people who watch this movie and are like, man, wouldn't it be great if we, like, took the home of a dead elderly person who was taking care of other infirmed elderly people, destroyed that, and built a restaurant and a bunch of condominiums that nobody who lives here could afford?
I mean, yeah. On an isolated island where those people really, really have no other option of where to go.
Yeah. And all roads lead to his restaurant on the bluff. It's like, it's crazy. Like, it's absurd. It's legitimately absurd. But it's the best kind of absurdism. It works because the film commits to it. Which is why I would like to talk about, I love that George's grandmother, he's like, why don't you guys come over for dinner tonight? And she gives them the bill for the food.
That's such a good bit.
It's also a pretty good deal.
Like, I got it.
It's a good deal. Because it's $15 for, like...
Well, she doesn't charge for squid, and she... Does she charge for Charlie? Yeah, she probably does.
If she doesn't charge for squid, then it's 5 people. If she also doesn't charge for George, which I don't think is the case, because when he says... So he tells Aki, you could stay at my grandmother's house. She has very affordable rates, as long as you're not family. Like, I feel like they're paying to stay with the grandmother.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's the moment where it's revealed. But she drops the bill, and Hoops is like, I got it. And he drops a $20 for the $15 check, and he's like, yeah, you just keep the change. Which I think brings us to Uncle Frank. Like, it's time to talk about Uncle Frank. Which is beautiful. It is such a beautiful, completely outdated storyline. And I think that's what sucks the most about it. Is that, like, if a Gen Z kid watched this movie, they'd be like, what is a radio station? Let alone you just listen and hope to win $1 million.
Yeah, what is this thing that they're just like, they're blasting out this thing, and yeah, sorry kids, that's how shit used to work. We sound like such old boomers right now. But no, like, I made me think of all the old shit, like what was the old Toyota bit, right? Wasn't that the big one that got everybody in trouble?
Yep.
Yeah.
That girl, they got sued.
But they used to do all sorts of stuff. Hands on hard body, right? You like radio stations would throw those kinds of things all the time.
Yeah, which is crazy, but like $1 million is kind of insane, right?
And I question if they had that once they show the station at the end of this movie, because the button on this film is fantastic, but it does have to do with Uncle Frank and his retribution.
Which again, and it's set up. It is set up, like, because he says to Aki, like, yeah, you can put all your stuff into my Uncle Frank's room. He won't even notice that it's there. Because when we first see Uncle Frank's room, there's no bed. There is just a card table with a telephone and the radio on it. And when they play the phrase that pays for 95.5, which is crazy, if you're the 50th caller, you win $1 million. And there's no way that could be real. Like, you're going to show up and you're going to get $1 million hairs, and it's going to fucking suck. Right? There's a nice Brother Solomon reference. Why are you laughing under your breath there? I don't want $1 million hairs. I want $1 million. No, we weren't going to. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. I mean, we're caught at this point. Like, sorry. I love that movie. You know I love that movie. We did a whole episode on it. So, when he gets through, the thing happens, he calls, he gets through to the station, so he's won the $1 million, right? It's a happy ending for Uncle Frank. But then he's like yelling at the disc jockey, played by Rich Hall. Is it Rich Hall or is it Rich Little? It is Rich Little, who's the disc jockey. I'm fairly certain he does dubs the voices in Better Off Dead of the car that he races with. Like, truly an example in moppishness.
Oh man, I was thinking of the bit in Futurama.
Yeah, exactly.
Will Sasso doing what? Who is it?
I'm Rich Little doing Howard Cosell.
Yeah, there it is.
So it's Rich Little, and he's yelling at him like, I've been sitting in front of this phone all summer. You're wasting my time. I'm so happy that I freaking won. But like, come on, and he pulls the phone out from the wall, which means that he's disconnected. He's no longer on the phone. And the disc jockey's like, oh, we lost him. Let's go to the next caller. So then a woman is there, and she wins the money. And Uncle Frank's revenge is he picks up the casual bazooka that we have seen Ack Reynolds owns. Raymond.
Was given to him by his father, and even has a moment where we're reminded that he owns it just a bit earlier, when after everything, his father realizes that they need to, I hate to say forgives him because he didn't do anything wrong, but his father like takes him back into the house so that they can actually like talk about things rather than just like being overreacty and toxic and melee, right? But the last thing that he says as he walks away with his father is he goes, "Can I keep the bazooka?" And we'll talk about it over some hot chocolate, son.
Yeah.
But like, you're reminded of the bazooka only for this button at the end of the movie.
Right, but the bazooka does come up in the last scene I want to talk about. And that is, they steal a bunch of lobsters from, apparently the Beckersteads already own a lobster company as well. They have to, considering the amount of lobsters we see this asshole like torturing, these poor lobsters he's torturing this entire movie. Yeah. So they use the bazooka to create a distraction so they can steal a truck full of lobsters, which that's a felony. If anybody's out there wondering if stealing a truck full of lobsters is a felony, the answer is yes. So we see casual bazooka to create a distraction to steal a truck. We have that scene where he's like, we'll talk about it over hot chocolate. And we see, like, after Ackey has moved into George's grandmother's house, that Uncle Frank is surrounded by weaponry. Like, there's just all sorts of weapons around him. So, in his anger at the radio station, he picks up the bazooka and launches a rocket at the radio station, which we cut to Rich Little on the radio station. He's like, oh, 1 second, we're going to have to pause. There's a rocket coming towards the station. And then the radio station gets blown up.
But you do get to see him dive out of the door, and then it pulls back and shows him rolling down the sand dune as the building behind him explodes.
Yeah.
To which the Stork brothers pull up in the foreground of this long distance shot and just go, "Oh, get the sticks and the marshmallows."
Yeah, they're gonna take advantage of that fire.
Oh God. Fucking weird movie, man. Weird movie.
Yeah, it is a weird movie. And those lobsters that they steal, they lobster the pool. Because Teddy's whole thing is that he has to do his laps every day in the pool, which is increasingly hilarious. Because the first time we see him doing his laps, he's wearing water wings. He has floaties on. But then by this last scene where he's like gonna swim in the pool that has been filled with lobsters, he has no water wings, and he dives in. It's a beautiful dive in. And then for this film that like has been teasing Jaws references the whole time, that's when the Jaws theme comes in, and he's pinched by lobsters. and he ends up pulling Cookie into the pool with him, and then they run from the pool with lobsters just hanging off of their bodies. And my question,
I bet you could go into like legitimate shock from that. I would be honest. If you fell into a pool full of lobsters, that would not be fun.
No, it wouldn't. And all I could think of was like, I've tipped a cow, but I've never lobstered a pool.
I've snickered a pool.
Oh, everybody snickered a pool, right?
What is that, Caddyshack, or is that what?
It is. It's a Baby Ruth in Caddyshack.
Baby Ruth, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh man. Last note that I had about this movie was, did you see all the Jay Ward references?
Yes, of course I saw
just, like,
all the
everywhere. Which kind of explains actually some of the more absurd humor in this movie. If you think about it like a living Jay Ward cartoon, a la like George of the Jungle with Brendan Fraser or Dudley Do-Right with Brendan Fraser, it starts to make a lot more sense, like the where this humor is coming from.
I love that they're all through Aki to show how sensitive he is. I fucking love the Rocky shirt. The Cedar Your Pants Flight School. That's always been one of my favorite. Because, like, What's the Matter You? Where Bullwinkle J. Moose went to college. Everybody knows What's the Matter You. But Cedar Your Pants is like, that's like a deep cut reference.
Yeah. Well,
Rocky
and then George of the Jungle, I think, is the last one that he's got on at the end when he jumps into the water.
Yeah. Because he's wearing the What's the Matter You shirt with Bullwinkle's head on it while they're doing the repair montage to the boat. So that, because their plan is, once Cassandra it can't do the house, they're like, we'll win the regatta. And then because that trophy is what represents their future, we'll trade them for the deed to the house, the regatta trophy. Like, that's the reason why they end up in the regatta, is we have to win the regatta so we can blackmail them.
To save the old folks home.
Yeah. You know, the teen center, Siege, and we have to say the teen center. It's where
But, like, I think this movie is very much aware of this.
Oh, totally.
Right? Like, I think this is all played up for exactly that. Like, it is not them stumbling into a trope. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're fully aware of it. It's one of the reasons why, like, I think of, we talked about like the Mark Metcalf Neidermeyer trilogy, but for real, when I think about like Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer, what do you think I consider the third film in that trilogy?
Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer. I don't know. Ferris Bueller? I don't know. What?
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Ha! All right. Fair enough. Okay.
Like, there's a reason why John Cusack is in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
And it's because it's a lot of the same stuff, like, well-worn, like, things that he's been in. It works. It works.
Yeah. And the only reason he wasn't in Hot Tub Time Machine 2 is that he legitimately is a man that just doesn't do sequels. It's like, again, to the fact that I think he is more annoyed by his success than anything else. It's like he's got like a pretty solid rule. I honestly, I can't think of a sequel he's ever done off the top of my head. There may be one or two, but it is pretty well stated that he basically refused at that time because he just is like, I'm at a point in my career where I don't have to do sequels.
I mean, down to that point, he is in the unrated version uncredited. He has a small role in the unrated version. But, like, I also kind of like that he's not in Hot Tub Time Machine 2. Mostly because of the fact that I think that Adam Scott, like, is the secret sauce that makes that sequel work.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about John Cusack, like, just kind of being over it? The quote for him on IMDb is, "I was a teen star. That's disgusting enough."
Man, there's a pretty famous picture of him hanging out with Johnny Depp and Hunter S. Thompson, to give anybody like kind of a clue of what the crowd he was rolling with in the 80s. Like all three of them like smoking like a pack each in the back of a car of a convertible.
That sounds like a cool way to be. I wish I were there with them.
Yeah, I mean but that's John Cusack was just a cool dude. I mean, in a lot of ways he still is. He's not as in the public eye as he was back in the 80s and 90s, but like he's always kind of rode on that personality of just kind of being the guy that's, when he shows up, it's a good time, but he doesn't go looking for it.
So another one of our time capsule episodes, specifically a time capsule episode, is America's Sweethearts, right? I'm not sure the episode number, but we could also do these in blue is the title of the episode. There's a reason why it's Julia Roberts and John Cusack who are at the end of that movie, America's Sweethearts.
America's Real Sweethearts. Yeah. A movie in which he plays the romantic lead and also gets caught jerking off into a cactus. So,
And also is kind of just over his fame. I don't know how much acting there was going on in that movie now that I pause to think about it.
Yeah.
It's fun, though. He's fun. He's fun. It's like, again, it's not the first time we've looked at him. And if I could, I don't think it's going to be hard to twist Sejan's arm to talk about Better Off Dead. It's not like I'm like, we need to cover Chirac because of his role as the priest in Chirac.
Man, Jesus, I forget about that one. Yeah, dude, man. He also did. Was it Saving Private Ryan that he's in, or is it Band of Brothers?
I think it's Band of Brothers. Oof, which one of those is he a part of? That's a good question that I wish I had the answer off the top of my head.
But like, he's not afraid of doing like the big, the big blockbuster thing either. Though, he definitely does not do them much anymore. But I mean, wasn't he in 2012? Wasn't that the big one for him? Yeah,
2012. That was. I'm not seeing it, but again, I did also go through all of Bobcat Goldthwait's things and not see, the movie we were talking about. I don't see either one of those as films that he was a part of. Maybe he was a producer on them, but But
2012, I'm pretty sure he's the main.
No, 2012. Yes, I meant Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
he's in the Thin Red Line. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Is Thin Red Line. Yeah, Malick, right? Isn't that a Malick film?
I believe so.
Man, we're asking too many questions.
Terrence Malick, correct. Wrote and directed.
Yeah, Terrence Malick.
But then a good pull on that one. I'm sorry that I was just thinking as I was looking through his filmography right around that time, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Oh, Jesus. The only thing about that movie is there's a real hard hump to get over these days.
We're not talking about that one. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I will talk about, though? Love and Mercy, the Bryan Adams movie, where he plays future Bryan Adams and Paul Dano plays young Bryan Adams. That's a good flick. I like that movie a lot. Yeah, he's just a good actor. And this is like one of those ones that I like. Better Off Dead, right? Which I think I like that one. Maybe. No, I don't. I like this one more. Fuck it. I can't even pretend that I like Better Off Dead. I think Better Off Dead is the more like commercially accessible movie. I think it'd be easy to convince people to watch Better Off Dead than it would be to watch.
I think Better Off Dead is a better film, but I think this is just a better time.
Yeah.
Like I would much rather watch this than watch Better Off Dead if given the choice, but I will never say that Better Off Dead is not well made. Like it is a well made film.
It was also one of my favorite. It was also one of the top 9 season. Like, great movie. I prefer One Crazy Summer, and that's just my preference. Yeah. And like also you have Charles Emerson Winchester, David Ogden Stiers as the father in that movie. That movie's just great. I like $2 is from Better Off Dead. $2. I don't even remember what I was talking about. No, so like that's the film that I think I would like direct people towards, but you can't show Better Off Dead to kids. Like I would if I had watched that film a little bit younger, it might have broken bad for me. Like finding it as a 16-year-old and connecting with that and being able to see exactly the satire and like this kid is acting like this shit that's happening to him in high school is life or death situations. And I'm not saying that like, but it really like it highlighted sort of the absurdity of that. Right? At the end of the day, Siege is not wrong when he says it's a kid with undiagnosed depression who was untreated, like trying to end his life. And it's all played for comedy. That's not a film I would show a 9-year-old. But I would show this film to a 9-year-old every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because the darker elements are certainly there, as Sejan saw through his viewing today, and as I explored with some of the things I brought up. But I feel like the film itself is like just like cartoonish enough that a 9-year-old would just enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's absurd, and like, you know, there's all of the physical funny bits with the Stork brothers, and there's like the goofy shit at the end with the boat. You know, the boat, them building the boat, and then the boat revealing to also have a car in it, really scratches that itch of like the 80s kid in all of us, where like gadgets are just like such a fun thing to see in a movie, right? Like think about like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or you know, I'm trying to think of like, there isn't that the one that opens up with like the Rube Goldberg machine making breakfast?
Yeah,
right?
like Pee-wee opens with that, and
oh yeah, Pee-wee, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely Rube Goldberg-esque stuff going on in the Zelensky house too. I mean, basically that's how the shrink ray is activated. Is the baseball falls, and there's just like it activates via that.
And I think about like remote control. Wasn't that the one all about the kid that like had all the remote toys? That was kind of like Home Alone, but with like the kid was like was able to like remote control toys from like 5 houses away.
You're actually thinking about Home Alone 3.
Yeah,
right. Weirdly, what that was about. God, you know what I love? That this is not the first time we've watched a William Hickey film. Because he's Dr. Finkelstein in The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nice.
God. And he's Carlton. Oh, God, I love him. I just love him as an actor. And he's so good as, like, the patriarch of the Beckerstead family. Like, just this, like, quiet, crazy sort of character in the background that everybody is so afraid of.
He also has a pretty hokey line to deliver, but does it pretty well when at the end he snatches the trophy out of Ted's hands, and he's just like, "You're not getting that house. This is the real investment, friendship.
Friendship is the real investment."
and then he grabs Ted by the ear and drags him away.
And it's like one of those situations where, like, I think that's a prosthetic ear. Because, like, it, like, cartoon stretches to an absurd amount. Oh, man. So I guess the last thing is, if you've just finished listening to this episode, go listen to What Does It Take by Honeymoon Suite. That song gets me going. The credits song, it's just so good. Yeah. Like, it's not the type of music you would expect. First of all, this film just has an incredible soundtrack. Like, this feels like it was, I don't know how it was made. It's got multiple Beach Boys song, like multiple, like, of the moment music is in it. Demi Moore performing, like, musically, and it's so good. But then Honeymoon Suite really takes it away with What Does It Take at the end of this. So if you've seen the movie, but you haven't heard that song in a while, go listen to What Does It Take again, because it's a great song. And I think that's the last thing I have to say on One Crazy Summer. Anything else from you, Mr. Sejan Sarowick?
No. Go and enjoy the film, folks.
What I will say, because I know that we're releasing it this weekend, right? I hope you all had a happy 4th of July, right, from this Air Report. I saw Minions today. Minions and Monsters. What a fun movie. What a fun movie. Just so many great references to cinema. And not just like if kids are not going to get these references. They're for the parents. Hell, they're for the grandparents.
Are we becoming old men, Devin? This is the second time we've gone down, maybe possibly even the third or fourth.
Dude, this film came out in 1986. One Crazy Summer came out in 1986. You know what else came out in 1986, Jim?
Devin
Decker. I was released in 1986. I'm 40 years old, Sejan. I'm not becoming an old man. For most of my life, I was told that once you're 40, you're over the hill. But yeah, like, if you get the opportunity, I honestly... for it being the opening day, it was a Wednesday opening, July 1st. There were not a lot of people in the theater. So
no, but they're all going to be there this weekend. I could guarantee you.
I mean, like, they're competing against Toy Story, so I don't know. But I think that, Minions and Monsters was so much fun. Like, so I recommend it. I'm just saying, go sign it. Obviously, I'm going to wait till Sejan gets a chance to see it before we talk about it, like, in depth on the show. But, if you're looking for something to watch this week, all the schools are out now, right? Like, that was the thing for me, is that Toy Story sold out for a morning show. Some of the schools in the state were still, like, going to school. This day, the first official day of summer for all of the schools in Rhode Island, there were about 10 people in the theater. So, take that for what it is. All right, so this has been our episode celebrating 40 years of One Crazy Summer. We appreciate all of you for joining us for this ride. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, you can join our Discord. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording on July 1st, 2026, is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Navigate to our bio section. There'll be a link to click on. You can join the Discord and all the fun that we post in the Discord. Keep that conversation going. Ask us questions. It'll be a good time. This also feels like a good time to mention that as of the release of this episode, the prize on the table for being a first-time listener with our 493rd episode, Mel Brooks made it. That's over. That competition is over. Thank you for all who participated. Claude, here's your prize. You got a shout-out in this episode. Because he contacted me. He's like, can I have the prize even though it wasn't my first episode?
I was going to say, that would be yeah.
And I'm like, and my response was, we have a standing date to hang out and play games online. So it kind of feels like you already won a major award. To which he said, the humbleness of Devin Decker. Get friends who understand you. Those make life. You know what? Friendship is the more important investment. Old man Beckerstead was right, Jim. If you're not on social media and you want an invitation to the Discord, just shoot us an email to thesayreport@gmail.com and we can facilitate you with an invitation that way. But if Discord feels too much like social media and you still want to talk to us, then just send those emails to thesayreport@gmail.com. I try to check it every day. The more important thing to remember is that if it's for me, Devin Decker, or him, Sejan Sarowick, put our first name in the subject line, and then it will be distributed to the Say Reporter you're looking to get in touch with. But as a reminder, if you write something to me and I'm like, oh my God, we need to talk about this on the show, I'm going to talk about it on the show. I probably won't read the email. I'll just be like, we received an email that brought a topic to my mind that I think we should talk about on the show. Just understand, anything that you submit on the internet is then open to scrutiny from others on the internet. Like, it's just a smart way to live. Just a smart way to live your life. All of that being said, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the show. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that this episode finally got to happen. And with that, the episode's over. You can go now. Will, bring us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Sejan Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.